Bite the Bullet, episode 2. Today is a very special day. We have someone that I'm honored that is in this room. He's a great guy. I met him through Special Operators Transition Fund. We have today Glenn Thomas, an American hero, Special Operator, Special Forces Green Beret, and welcome. How you doing, Glenn?
Hey, how you doing? I'm flattered. I'm like, wow, that intro is pretty awesome.
Yeah, man. So how you doing today?
I can't complain.
Good, man. So yeah, we met, just for the audience, we met, actually, I think you knew my father.
Yep.
How long have you guys known each other? For a couple years?
That was a couple years. We met at what used to be Your Grateful Nation, and now it's Special Operations Transition Foundation. Yep.
Okay.
SOTF.
Yep. Yeah, that's a, and you were just up there in Detroit.
Yep. Doing a talk up in Detroit. It was the 20th anniversary of 9/11, so it was. They brought in a few of us that were the original crew that went in right after 9/11.
And you were with Your Grateful Nation for. Did you get help with them finding your career field?
One of the things I'll tell you, when you wear the uniform, you almost feel like it's a cape. It gives you a different feeling, and a little bit of a shot of confidence. I spent close to 30 years in the military, and then stepping away from the uniform, taking it off, you need that little boost of confidence, and that's what SOTF gave me. I work currently for a tech firm called Red Hat Consulting, and bring a lot of the special ops experience and advising in a consulting arena.
Awesome.
And so, but yeah, Your Grateful Nation at the time helped me find that shot of confidence I needed.
Awesome. And that's and for those that don't know, SOTF now, Special Operators Transition Fund, helps special forces, I believe mainly. Higher up military guys that have been in for a long time, serve the country, and help them transition into civilian life, build resumes. And I guess, I feel like a lot of guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of military guys really don't know how they could help a company with what they've done from the military.
Well, you help a little bit of everyone for special ops. You have everything from the Navy SEALs to Marine Raiders to Special Forces Green Berets, the whole gambit, AVSOC, Air Force Special Operations, aviators. So you have the whole gambit. Most have spent at a minimum, 4 to 6 years, some as many like myself, 20 plus years. And I think the thing to take away is it kind of helps you, you go from a community where everyone around you has been specially assessed and selected and trained for particular mission sets. And then you get out and you think, what do I bring? And you don't realize that there's a lot of experiences, talents, and experiences that you can transfer to the private sector. And so it was kind of an eye-opening. You're like, oh, wow, what would I bring to a company? And then you realize you bring quite a bit.
Yeah. No, I was up in the Nashville event. I go to that every year, and I sponsor that. And
you're golfing with a buddy of mine.
Yeah. And who I want to talk about later, he told me a little bit of story about you with some monument, some country or some town made you. But I was talking to someone, and I said just that. I was like, I don't think, just what you said. I feel like you guys have been doing the hard shit for, the hard shit. You guys you're having to do different stuff within, change a plan within a moment's notice. Whereas, in, a company, you pretty much can sense what's going to happen, what you need to do, a week, 2 week, month projection, and you're dealing with on the spot changes and all kinds of stuff. So it's you guys have done a lot for sure.
Well, yeah, I think, there's, it's funny. I was just telling someone today, if you go to any CEO of corporate America, you'll probably find a military leadership book on his desk. And on the flip side, if you go to any military leader, you'll find some corporate book on his desk, good to great, or something along those lines. And so I think it's something that both sides have a lot to learn from one another.
No, that's cool. No, that's great. So what, if you don't mind, diving into this a little bit, what made you want to, join the military and be a Green Beret? Or
You
did
know, that's funny you say that because I look back on it. There's I think it was Socrates, Plato, one of those guys that wore a robe. They had a great quote, life unexamined, life not worth living, along the lines of looking back, do you have regrets? All these guys say, oh, I have no regrets. I have lots of regrets. I remember Apple stock at $4 a share. So I have a lot of regrets and did not buy. But I think three things that I got right in my life. One was going in the military out of high school. I was that goof-off kid that tested well, did poorly. And so I had decent grades, but just wasn't really ready for college. And then number two was going to Special Forces. Absolutely great call. And number three, marrying the woman I did. So I got those three right.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah. So what made me join? A lot of that was I wanted the adventure. I think most I didn't go in for a career. I went infantry.
Okay.
One of my regrets, I didn't serve in the Ranger Regiment. I still would have loved to have served in the Rangers. That didn't work out. I never had the opportunity. I didn't fail out or nothing. May have, but I didn't get the opportunity. But going into the military was to me, it was the adventure. I wanted something new. I wanted to feel like I was part of something, and I found it. And then as I did enlist at the time, did Desert Shield, Desert Storm, 101st Rakkasans, 187 Infantry, got out, and then went to college and missed it. And
so how long were you in for between high school and going back to
I
college?
did a couple years active duty, a couple years in National Guard in Indiana, and then I was offered a scholarship for ROTC.
Okay.
And so I was in college, and they said, hey, you want a scholarship? And so I took the scholarship, finished college, and came back into the infantry.
That's awesome. So did you start out as like an E1, or is that?
Yeah, I was E1,
Okay.
buck private, nothing.
So you landed all the way up with the big dogs.
Yeah, I worked my way up to E4, a corporal. I was enlisted, and then I worked my way up to I retired as a colonel.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you for your service, man.
Oh, thank you.
So, so you went in. What'd you graduate college with?
I had what I call the infantry degree, history and political science.
Okay.
And so dual major, and from Indiana University, Hoosiers, back when we had Bob Knight, back when we actually won a few games here and there.
No, I hear you. And well, their football team's doing all right.
Well, we're highlight reels for other people's Heismans, yeah.
So, talking a little bit more about you. Did you know? Did you want to go to a specific place after college? Did you have like a place on the map that you wanted to go to?
I think when I got out, I was my father was in the military, was an enlisted guy, 20-some years, and so I went to high school in Germany. So when I graduated, I didn't know where I wanted to go. So I joined the Army, and then all of a sudden I was getting out of the Army, and I was like, crap, where do I want to go to college? And I always thought California would have been cool. I think everyone does. And
Wait,
then,
so you were living in Germany in high school?
lived in Germany in high school, yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, I lived in a place called Kaiserslautern. There was more Americans there than probably Germans. I mean, in all honesty, it was little America back then. And so I ended up following my dad's from Indiana. So when I left the Fort Campbell, Kentucky, 101st Airborne Division, I decided to go to Indiana University and become a Hoosier.
Nice, very cool. So were you born in Germany?
No, my mother.
Or I guess you traveled with your father.
Yeah, I was born in Okinawa, Japan.
Okay.
My dad was in the military, Army. Did a tour in Vietnam. Went to Japan. Following that, met my mother. Went back to Vietnam, then Okinawa, and then I was born in Okinawa.
Okay, very cool, very cool. So you've got quite a bit of worldly experience.
Not really.
So did you know as a child? Did you want to be a Green Beret? Was that like what was the point in your life where I want to join Special Forces?
Well, back then we didn't have cool internet because I'd probably live in my parents' basement had we. But so I read a lot of books, and I didn't really read the boring books. I read the cool paperback stories of Vietnam, LERPs in Vietnam. So I read a lot of Vietnam books, and so I was fascinated. And, the whole idea, small groups of guys behind the lines. And so when I was trying out I was in the infantry, 3rd Infantry Division, 24th ID. We became 3rd ID, and I was accepted to try out for 1st Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment, but didn't get a letter of release. Back then, you had to have your unit allow you to. So
to go somewhere else.
Okay.
else.
So I wasn't released. I was in an XO position, so it was kind of a good position. They didn't want to let me go. We were getting ready to deploy, and so. but I also had to pack it in for Special Forces. It was something I always wanted to do.
So is that something you had to apply? You had to
apply, and
Okay.
back then it was now it's a little bit cooler, a little bit sexier. That was back then. It was late '90s. It was pre-war. You were still kind of, oh, you're going to go over there and become one of those guys. I remember my commander actually told me that. He said, "Oh man, you're going to go over there and hand out toilet paper in some third world country," and
as a special force.
as a special
Yeah.
force. That was the mentality because the thing about special forces, and you hear special operations. Special operations is the whole gambit. It's the umbrella term for all the different special operations forces.
Between each branch.
Yeah, and you
Okay.
have and they're all phenomenal. You won't hear me badmouth anyone. And but I like the mission of the Green Berets, Special Forces.
What was that? Were you guys doing like hostage rescue, or were you guys doing like high value targets?
You had some of that.
Okay.
A lot of what had compelled me to go Special Forces. It was a construct of by, with, and through. I joke around. I probably, I'm not sure. I'm trying to think of a good way to phrase this, but how I liken it is you teach Hector to kill Pablo and blame it on Juan. Okay. And so probably not politically correct, so I apologize. Or you can change out for whatever names you want.
No worries, man. Anything goes.
But bottom line is you work with and through other people. And it's one thing to be able to do it on your own, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's phenomenal. We need those guys too. The direct action role, surgical. Can you strike surgically? But on the Special Forces side, it's can you get someone else to do it?
Okay.
So that's the novelty of it is working with and through others, and at the end of the day, it's building those relationships to get them to fight with you.
Yep. So like wherever you're stationed, it's like the locals there that you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and every group, we're Special Forces are regionally aligned.
Okay.
So you break the world up into sections, and being an Asian guy, I was destined to go to the Middle East. So that's where I spent most of my career was in the Middle East.
Okay.
And I mean that sarcastically. I'm sure there was an Arab guy in the Pacific going, man, holy cow, how'd I end up here? But that's military assignments.
Yep. And someone was telling me I mean, obviously you did. Do you have to learn like 3 languages to be a Green Beret?
I can barely speak English on many days. There is a push, and when I went through, we used to say cooperate and graduate, meaning you do, languages are important. I do want to say that. But I will say there's a thing about cross-cultural communication.
Okay.
And the reason why I say is, yes, we do have to have a language in Special Forces to pass the training, to go through. You try to keep up with it. I did a very poor job. But I will tell you, one thing I did learn was the importance of communication. In the early days, right after 9/11, in filling into Afghanistan without a linguist, without the language background, you realize you communicate many ways, and the spoken verbiage is only one piece of that.
Okay.
But
So
yes,
what?
you do have to learn language.
Yep. So what was your?
I was a Russian guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you do that in college or through?
Absolutely not. In
Okay.
college, I barely. My mother's Japanese, so I was the college kid taking Japanese and got a C.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was listening to a podcast the other day because I got to be honest with you, I was real nervous to have you in here. I've been talking about it to Jordan for the past hour. I was like, man, I want to have a good conversation with this guy. He's an awesome person, and I need to respect his time and make it worth it. But I was listening to it. So I was listening to a podcast yesterday or a couple of days ago, and they were talking about just the transition that each branch of Special Forces, took after the war or during the War of Terror. After 9/11, kind of everything shifted. Did you see like any huge differences between your daily roles and as a Green Beret?
Yeah, I kind of likened it to this. I got in there. I got the 5th Special Forces Group right before 9/11. So actually, at the time, I was the newest team leader or detachment commander in 5th Group at the time, and so got there really in early August 2001. So the first time I had ever saw my team was literally September 10th.
Okay.
I still remember Monday, the first time I saw my whole team, because they were out in what we call Red Cycle. They were out training, had guys in Ranger School, Sniper School, all the different schools. So there was only a few of us on the team, and so What was the question again, man? Obviously,
I guess. Well, yes. Sorry.
How have things changed?
Yeah. How have things changed?
Yeah, it changed a lot. And what I'll tell you is, and I think our success in the early days of the war, and I will tell you, the guys now are phenomenal. They're better than I ever was. I have no shame in saying I became instructor years later, and I was teaching guys to that were every bit as good as I was, if not 10 times better. After a little bit of experience and a little bit of training. But the early days, what impressed me the most about Special Forces was you did more with less. And as you got more access to money, funding, resources, training, you did less with more, meaning your missions in themselves became very specialized. You had the luxury of being a specialized tool.
Yep.
The early days, I think, especially the first, 15, 20 teams, first 2-3 years in the war, those Green Beret teams were, jacks of all trades. A little bit of everything, and they just made do. And you learned a little bit, very independent. They were comfortable, and I kind of liken that, and I give a lot of credit to the Somalia guys, 5th Special Forces Group. A lot of the guys I worked with were veterans of Desert Shield, Desert Storm, Haiti, and Somalia. And I think in Somalia, in the early 90s, these are guys out there, figuring out how to get things done without a lot of resources. So I think that really helped us. But as years went by, combat can be sexy. You're getting, the rush, the quick operations. Or you were talking about the CT, and things along those lines. We're getting back to our roots, foreign internal defense. A lot of boring. I call it beard rubbing. You got to sit there and rub beards with another man, drinking tea and talking about how you're going to train his forces to defend themselves.
Okay, yeah. Because the podcast I was listening to, they were saying about how everything, for the most part, and correct me if I'm wrong, was like specialized. So like the SEALs were in the water, and nowadays SEALs are doing missions that aren't in the water, and everybody's wanting to get back to their roots. Is that something?
Everyone wants to get back to the roots, and be honest, we joke around and say, here's a surprise. I used to tell guys that all the time. And the 18 Alpha, which is Special Forces Captain, detachment commander, we're going to show you a highlight reel of some guy skydiving through the air, and he flies like a bumblebee, and he lands on the ground. He speaks 12 languages, and he's got a hot woman and a pair of Oakleys on. And then when we get you into training, and once we got you, you spend a lot of hours looking at maps, studying, planning, and the boring stuff. And then I always say, hey, welcome to the real world. And so that 15 minutes excitement, you're going to spend days getting ready for it.
Yeah.
And as an officer, you may spend a fraction of your career, but it's got to be worth it. Just to be around those guys that make it happen, those non-commissioned officers. And I've worked in the purple, with the SEALs and the Rangers. I have nothing but respect for everybody. The CCT guys, the PJs. Just phenomenal people, and the support people in special operations are just phenomenal people. But awesome. Definitely changing.
Yeah. So what was your? I know you said you were an instructor after a certain amount of time. What was your, I guess, in the early days of joining the Special Forces? What was your daily life like? Like, what was your role, and what was your job?
The first few months, it was just to stay out of the way and not get in trouble and learn. And you got to be a sponge and be humble, because I was humbled, and meaning I literally came in, and I had come from the infantry. In the infantry, I get to give guidance and direction. Man, this is what I need. And you literally do Barry White. You drop out 3 octaves, and you try to give guidance to sound really cool. And I went to Special Forces team and tried the same thing. All right, man, listen up. This is the guidance for today. And everyone stopped, and he looked at the team sergeant. And man, you want to talk about humbling. So, as a young Green Beret, what I had to learn was humility. To be smart enough to know when I'm stupid. To ask those questions and to lead indirectly. That's
very valuable.
Yeah,
what you just said.
Lead through subtleties. I found as a Green Beret, I led more by asking questions than I ever did giving directions.
Wow, that's powerful. I think a lot of people these days are afraid to ask questions in certain situations.
Oh, for sure.
So what you just said is golden. No, I totally agree. So I'm really big on mindset and developing a passion and running with it, with whatever that goes, and having the motivation and drive to see things through, not back out of certain things when times get tough. how much did the military help you develop that mindset that, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get this done. I'm not going to shy away. Did you know?
I think that's great. Everyone, you hear a lot of people going, man, I wish I served. I wish I didn't get the opportunity. What I always tell them is, hey, man, for a lot of us, it's a calling. You feel that excitement, you feel that urge, you go in there. The mindset, the same guy that's, same person, I try to be gender neutral. The same person that has drive in their personal life, that entrepreneur that gets up early to, do his business, or gets up and goes to work out every day, or doesn't quit on the football field, is not going to quit in the military generally. But I think the biggest thing you get from the military is it's just not always about you. You can have a bad day, but be that person that someone else is going to step up and help out. Don't be that dirtbag that everyone's glad isn't there. And so I think a lot of that don't quit attitude. You got to find it, and you got to look around to your left and right, and you got to want to make sure that you feel like you're contributing. And that's one of the things the military taught me was it's not always about you.
Yep.
You got to contribute, but at the end of the day, everyone's going to have a bad day. And when you have a bad day, be that guy that other people want to help out.
Okay. Yeah, so you're not affecting other people and dragging people down.
Yeah, you want to be the one that, I had a guy years ago tell me, if you ever have too much drink around, and you don't want to be the guy that, writing rude stuff on your forehead and taking photos. You want to be the guy that someone carries over in the corner and throws a blanket on.
Yep.
So it's kind of like that.
Yep. And I wanted, tying into that, how did you deal with like high intensity situations, with stress and,
I'll come out. Master Sergeant Darren Crowder, phenomenal. Guy's amazing speaker, amazing person. He was my team sergeant, old grizzled guy. And I remember one day in particular stands out. Operation Anaconda was bad. A couple of days of badness, and I was smoked. And I remember getting, the boss telling me, hey, this is what we need you to do. Is now retired Lieutenant General Mulholland. At the time, it was Colonel Mulholland. He said, hey, Glenn, I need you to hold the objective and, put your forces out and secure the objective. And very simple guidance, makes sense. Hey, you guys have taken the objective, now secure it, bed down for the evening and secure it, And in my mind, for some reason, I was just wore out. And I was just like, crap. I looked around, and it was overwhelming. I had Afghans, drifting off. I had two different Afghan units wanting to fight each other, ethnic issues. Everything was just going to crap, and everyone was tired. And I remember,
and you're in command.
I was the ground force commander for the contingent I had, and I remember I kicked the ground, and I was kind of pouting and feeling sorry for myself. And I walked around a little bit, and my team sergeant, he said, "Hey boss, what's going on?" He said, "What's the call?" And I said, "Man, we got to secure this objective. I got to set up." And he goes, "Hey sir, that tree right there looks like a great place for a CP command post." And what he was doing, he was snapping me out of it and saying, you got to start somewhere. And so I think I believe in the Stockdale paradox. I think Jim Collins wrote about it in one of his books. But it's Admiral Stockdale. And I kind of liken it to and I'm going to paraphrase it. He does a much better job. The Stockdale paradox is a wonderful quote, but I would say it's one of those being realistic. Things will work out, so you're staying optimistic. But they're going to suck until they do. And so you're being pragmatic. So, but yeah, I think that's a lot of it is just being realistic. It's okay to suck. And you hear those terms, embrace the suck, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, and there's days where you can. I mean, it's awesome when you embrace the suck in the gym because you're going home in 15 minutes. But I remember day 3 of Ranger School. How do you embrace the suck when you go, oh, shit, there's 59 more days of this crap? And you're going, there's no way. And but there is a way. Yep. You find that intestinal fortitude. You look to your left and right and realize the guy next to you is sucking just as bad as you. And,
yep. My father always tells me when I'm having a stressed out day, or I'm pretty close with him. So when I'm something's not going my way in my personal daily life with my business, whatever it is, mostly my business though. He always tells me take one bite of the elephant at a time.
Oh yeah,
always.
Great quote.
And it's
the old men are smart, man.
Yeah. No, I know. And I'm very, privileged and, lost train of thought. I'm very privileged to have my father, and for everything that he does for me, advice, and and all of that. But I think it's very important, just like what you just said, taking one step at a time and knowing that it's going to be okay, and not psyching yourself out because one thing didn't go your way. And I think that applies. Everything you just said applies to anything in life, whatever situation you're in, not just extreme situations like you were in. And
yeah, and I'll let you in on a secret, and this is probably you got these special ops guys, that you look in, and I look up to these guys too. I mean, I've been mentored by guys many years junior than me. I mean, I'm just impressed. Every day I stood in the shadows of heroes, and I was always humbled. But I will tell you, that same guy that you see at work, that's just the steadfast, epitome of just awesomeness. At home he's flipping out because he can't find his goddamn car keys. And so once you understand that, at the end of the day, you're a person. My wife reminded me. It's funny. I get all the time, the humility of her going, "Oh, Mr. Green Beret, you can't even find our car in the parking lot." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we came in Nordstrom's." And so, one of the things, never lose sight. Like you said, we've all had bad days. Sometimes you get crunched, but those little snippets of wisdom, and keeping that sense of humor. And so, but yeah, that's a secret, man. Even the coolest Green Beret, coolest, baddest ass SEAL in the world flips out on stupid shit sometimes. And that's where you gotta be smart enough to listen to someone else that knocks you back on track, just like my team sergeant did.
No, that's cool. And obviously you developed a brotherhood through all of those, ups and downs and hurdles and, challenges with probably, a lot of guys.
Yeah. And if they called me right now and, "Hey, Glenn, I need a kidney," I'll say, "Well, let me check. I got 2, I think." And then, but yeah, they're phenomenal people. And, for the rest of my life, I'm indebted to them.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's very interesting. How's that? So for the audience here, we're drinking a little bit of Uncle Nearest. I got a sign up here in the corner, and I don't know if I want to tell the entire story, but that basically he was the slave who taught Jack Daniels how to make whiskey.
That's
and
awesome.
Glenn noticed it and knew exactly what it was, which I was really surprised.
Well, I'm a married guy with 3 kids, so I'm too cheap to buy the Uncle Nearest. So I'm drinking, the Old Forester at $23 a bottle. So I was like, wow,
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
No, so thank you. This is good
Yeah,
stuff.
man. Yeah, it's a little strong, but it's not. It's pretty good. So I like things that have a story to them.
Yeah,
It makes it really important. And I'm not a huge whiskey guy, but I like the story, and I'll buy a part of history. I wanted to. I'm looking at my notes here.
Please, man. This is like I said. This is actually more fun. This is more like a bullshit session,
Yeah.
And so you were talking about being nervous that I'm coming. I'm like, holy cow, man. This is new turf for me as well.
Is this your first podcast?
Oh, absolutely. Put it this way. Several years ago, I did a radio interview for the Special Forces training. I was running some exercises, and so I was on the radio. That's when I realized, holy cow, I have a borderline lisp and a nasally voice. Very humbling.
No, you're doing good, man. You sound good too. So, what can you elaborate on? Can you tell me any like really cool, badass stories or any not necessarily badass, but maybe one of the more fun times in the military?
I don't really have a lot of badass stories, and it's funny. I was surrounded by badasses, and I was pretty lucky. I was surrounded by some good knuckleheads, and matter of fact, you want to talk about a good guy to have interviewed? I'll have to drag him over here. A guy named Billy Waugh. And am I allowed to curse?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Billy, we joke around. Billy has his middle name is Billy fucking Waugh. And let me tell you, he wrote a few books out there. If you ever get a chance to read it, Hunting the Jackal.
Yep.
There's a few other books about him, but that's his autobiography. And I was a young detachment commander. Like I said, straight out of the Q course. So, I mean, literally, first time I saw my entire team was September 10th, excuse me. And we went to the range on September 11th.
So, sorry, when you say that you saw your entire team, prior to that, were you in specialized small units?
What happens in Special Forces, back then we used to have this cycles called red, amber, green. And
Okay.
if you're red, and amber and green, and so if you're red, you're, on details, you're mowing lawns and all that stuff. I remember this was back when the military still mowed its own lawns and stuff, and that, this pre-war, GWAT, 9/11 money. And so you're doing, ash and trash duties around. And so what you try to do is send a lot of your guys to training, schools, things like that. Then you had amber, red, yellow, green, amber, same thing. Your amber or yellow cycle was putting guys at school. So we were kind of in the red amber phase. And,
Okay.
so I showed up, and it was me, my team sergeant, a commo sergeant, and a warrant officer. So there's 4 of us. And so back then, a healthy team was about 8 guys. Normally, a Special Forces team's about 12. So my other 4 or 5 guys were scattered at schools. I think the guys were at sniper school at Fort Benning and some other schools, driving school, whatever it was. And so I partnered with a sister team, ODA 595, the Horse Soldiers. So Mark Nooch and those guys, Bob Pennington. So that's who I kind of hung out with.
The
them.
horse soldiers?
Yeah, they got Horse Soldiers bourbon, another good bourbon.
Okay.
But yeah, Horse Soldiers 595. They made that movie, Horse
Oh,
Soldiers.
yeah. Okay, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Mark Nooch, no offense if you're listening, you look nothing like the guy that played you in the movie, man. Thor's, a lot better looking than you. I think you know that. But yeah, so I partnered with them and, kind of hung out until I saw my team together.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, sorry, I think we were talking about Billy Waugh. Did you?
Yeah, Billy Waugh. And what I was going to say about Billy was, you were talking about, cool things is, to this day, I'm still friends with the Billy. He lives here in Lutz, Florida, just right up the road. He's 92 years old. Billy is a legend among legends. He's okay. When I met him, he was 72 years old. I show up in this remote base run by the 3-letter agency, the CIA guys, and a little secret base, middle of nowhere, and we're setting it up.
Overseas?
This is Afghanistan.
Okay.
This is in 2001.
Okay.
And so, sure enough, I see this old dude whistling. It's Billy fucking Waugh, loading AK ammo from the back of a truck, and he was 72 years old. So I had the luxury of spending a few months with him on the ground. And I remember one time we were getting ready to roll out, and Billy wanted to go. And Billy's 72. He had a little AK and a little folding stock, and he pops up. And he says, I want to go. And we're like, hey, Billy, we ain't got room for you on this trip. We're going to head down, and we thought we were going to get a little.
And have you heard about him before?
Yeah, we had,
Okay.
I'd love to say I had. I should have. Everyone else was like, you don't know Billy Waugh. Billy Waugh free-falled into North Vietnam. Billy Waugh jumped into Laos. Billy Waugh, he's up there with Chuck Norris on the Cool Guy Index. And, so Billy, so I'm like, holy shit, I'm trying to learn as much as I can. But sure enough, we meet Billy, and the guy's 72 years old, and he's out there helping us run ranges, training. We were building a little a militia force, so to speak. We were building a little Afghan army to Northern Alliance guys, some Pashtu Shura, which are like the local
Okay.
guys. So we were basically trying to build a.
Are these allies?
Well, they were flying Taliban flags a few days earlier, so it was one of those you're kind of, you
don't really know.
You're kind of building your team. Let's
Yeah.
put it that way. And Billy, was, we're getting ready to go down. There was this is past December 8th, so the Taliban had fallen, but they just didn't know they had fallen. It's not like they got the internet pop on and go, holy shit, we've been overthrown. So we had hit a mountain checkpoint, and had Taliban flags. And we really wanted to get through that mountain pass to go get this place called Gardez. We wanted to set up. We, go down there and kind of build our army and go push down towards the border, and clear out what we thought the last Taliban pockets. War had shifted.
Okay.
Kabul had fallen, and now we were trying to clear out pockets of Taliban and find this big, tall Arab guy named Osama bin Laden. And so we get there, and, so we're planning this op. We load up, we're going heavy on ammo, loading up the teams, going heavy on the young guys, because we got some agency guys there as well. We got some other guys, other players from all different agencies, and we're getting ready to roll. And sure enough, Billy's angry because we don't have him in the load plans. Billy isn't on the plans. And so Billy's like, well, I can fit in this vehicle. No, Billy, we're going to keep you back here. And we're all thinking, damn, Billy, you're 72 years old.
How did he get over there? Was this when he was assisting the CIA?
Oh, yeah. He was working with the CIA at the time. And, so I'm not saying anything, it's in his book. And you'll see it. I took a few of those photos that he has in those books. But so Billy loses his mind. He goes ape shit and says, God damn it, I've been hit 8 motherfucking times, and nothing fucking happened to me, and I'm rolling on this goddamn op. And my team sergeant looked at him and said, "Well, Billy, that's awesome. You got 8 Purple Hearts, and that's pretty badass and shit, man. 8 Purple Hearts. That's quite a bit, man. Eight times." And my team sergeant, Darren Crowder, from a small town, Eastern Tennessee, out in the mountains, and said, "Well, Billy, what happened to all those guys that you were with?" "Well, God damn it, they dead." Exactly. That's why you're not going to this fucking op. And so, that always put things in perspective. But yeah, you got to have Billy sometimes because he's over here. He lives here.
How's he doing? Is he doing all right?
He's doing good. He's, COVID slowed him down. He hadn't had COVID, but he doesn't get to go on the go-go train, meaning he's, at home and he's bored. So, but he's a superstar.
Yep. I read like 3/4 of Hunting the Jackal. Mm-hmm. It was, I have a real bad, just before I go into that, I have a real bad problem of reading books 3/4 of the way and then starting another one and not going back. But I need to finish that book. Yeah. But some of the stuff in there because you told us about it when we met at World of Beer.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff in there is probably some of the most insane shit.
You can't make it up.
I was reading this. I was like, there's no fucking way this guy did that. But.
Oh, yeah. I was talking about this Medal of Honor that recently had popped up and they were talking about, was it racism because this young captain didn't get the Medal of Honor put in and then I was asking Billy, "Hey, Billy, you were in there." And he goes, "That was my goddamn team leader. I put that Medal of Honor in." And I go, "Oh." And I said, "Well, do you think it was an issue of race?" He goes, "No, we were just all fucked up with our paperwork." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So, yeah, so that, but Billy was, they broke that mold when they made him.
Yep. Yeah, I would recommend everybody out there go and look at the book. I believe you can buy it on Amazon, Hunting the Jackal.
Yeah.
That's an amazing book. Yeah, that would be cool if we could all, sometime, whether he comes on here or not, it would just be cool to shake the guy's hand, thank him.
Oh yeah,
I'll take you guys to lunch or figure out something. That'd be awesome, man. What would you say to guys that are looking to, I guess, would you recommend? Do you recommend everybody? Do you talk to other people and assist them with going into the military and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And just talked to a young Marine not too long ago that was had gotten out, superstar, was debating about come back in, and he was looking at going Special Forces.
Yep.
And what I tell guys, if I could do it over again, I would. And it's something I chose to do, and you won't see me wearing a whole bunch of cool T-shirts. Hey, look at me, I'm a Green Beret. I'm one of the few guys. I don't have cool tattoos. Just until recently, I drove a Honda Odyssey. I'm just that nerd next door. But I can honestly look in the mirror at night and say, I served among the best, and I mean that. So.
That's awesome. I really appreciate your service, man. So your buddy, when I was up in Nashville, I played with your buddy.
John Hockey.
John,
yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And we all played very terrible in that tournament. Very bad. But he was saying something about you had been somewhere. You're gonna have to tell this story for me. But some country, I don't know where you were.
Yeah, I spent a year in Beirut, Lebanon.
Okay.
One of my last assignments. We had, I don't even know if we still have it. We used to have these small commands. And, we make ourselves feel good as officers and calm commands. But I was a senior special operations guy in Lebanon, in the Middle East, and based out of Beirut. Yeah.
And I guess, a village were they villages or a city?
No.
They built you a monument.
No, I'd love to say it was that cool. That does sound cool. By the time I go home, the story may go into that. I may have to let the wife know that. And but no, what it was is I worked with Lebanese Special Operations Forces. We call them LSOF, and so worked pretty well with them. And you were talking about the I don't know, the ability to say that, and so I got real close with them. And one of the things I used to always say to them is, as a leader, can you say I don't know? And the Lebanese would, no, a leader must be omnipotent, must be all powerful. It's weak to admit. And I used to tell those young officers, and I won't even say young, there are a lot of them senior to me. I was the advisor, so to speak, for their version of SEALs, their version of Rangers, their version of the Raiders, the Marines. So we had and I remember telling them, I said, you'll be amazed. Some of the most powerful words you can ask, say as a leader, and I told the Lebanese this, was, I don't know, what do you think? And I remember them just blown away, the senior leaders. These were colonels and generals. But I remember the young majors pulled me aside and said, that was awesome. We appreciate that. I would love someone to ask my opinion. So, I got to know these guys real well, and I would joke around a lot. And one of the jokes I always said was, hey, man, they were like, hey, what do you want? I said, oh, man, just go ahead and make a statue of me, Matter of fact, I'll leave you a statue of me as a gift. And so when I left, they actually had a bust made, kind of more of like the Roman style, just my shoulders and above, a bust of me.
Really?
And it's so obnoxious. If you come over the house, I mean, it's holy cow, it's obnoxious.
So you brought it back?
Yeah, they were.
Okay.
And
what's it made out of?
It's kind of resin. Looks kind of like they made it look like bronze, but it's kind of like this plasticky resin. I actually thought it was a bust of Hugh Jackman or George Clooney at first. I was like, man, that's a good-looking guy, and then I realized, oh shit, that's me. And but I will say on the dipshit index is pretty high because I didn't want to do a lot of laundry, so I wore an undershirt underneath a polo, and to this day, I've been called out on it. People look at the bus going, hey man, are you wearing an undershirt? And I'm like, shut up, man. And so yes,
I want to wear it tomorrow.
Yeah, I was like, yes, I wore an undershirt because I didn't want to do laundry over in the Middle East.
No, that's how long were you over there in Lebanon?
A year.
Okay, what's that like now?
I would tell you, Lebanese are some of the best people in the world.
Yeah.
And amazing people. I love Lebanon, love the people of Lebanon, and it's some hard times.
Yep. I hear Vietnam is actually has some major plans.
Vietnam's an awesome country.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot to be said about capitalism in the long run. It
Yep.
really is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to get too politically, but I wish some people didn't want to take that because that's why we're here. So,
Yeah.
But well, cool. Is there anything that you wanted? And I asked you this yesterday. Is there anything that you wanted to cover? That you wanted to speak about that something's been on your mind since you've been out.
Yeah, I think it's 20 years. 20 years ago, we did 9/11. And one thing I'd like to say is, it is a great country. And so you hear, you watch TV and you'd swear, nothing but the negative. But I would tell you, in some ways, and we've all lost people. We all have known people that aren't around anymore. As Americans, and I'm stealing this from someone. Someone said it, be worth fighting for. Be that American that's worth fighting for. And so I have nothing but the highest regards for, for our policemen, our firemen, paramedics, teachers, serve and be a good person. It's don't be a dick index.
Yep.
And I'd like America, if I had to say anything, was, it's a damn great country. And I think it's too easy to lose sight of that. And
yeah, no, that's crazy. You just said that because I was listening. Do you know Andy Friscella? You heard of him? He's a big mindset, motivational kind of guy. He started. Have you heard of the challenge called 75 Hard?
Yeah.
You hear about people doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he started that and all those phases and stuff. But I was listening to an episode yesterday. Actually, I drove back from Nashville yesterday, and he was saying about what America, the idea of America back 10, 15 years ago was so great because of the people. And we make that country great. We make this country great because of the people. And more so recently within the last several years, people aren't meant to be fat, lazy, unmotivated. And as Americans, we're supposed to be producers, not consumers. We're not supposed to consume everything, on Instagram, on Facebook.
Yeah.
Listening to what we hear all the time and not actually going out and like doing something and being that great American. Because just like you and thousands of others that are making sure that we have these freedoms. I feel like it's often overlooked by certain people and they take that for granted.
Yeah.
And
yeah, for sure.
They don't do certain things throughout their life that they should be doing.
Well,
And-
look at our border right now. You have people, crossing that border to come here, risking their lives and your families to cross that border. Ain't a whole lot of countries in the world that have that same issue. You know, so if we suck so bad, I mean, you know, I'd question that. You know,
Yeah.
it's still a great place.
No, I don't mean that we
No,
suck.
no.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
agree. No, I'm with you. I'm
Yeah.
saying no. I think you know what you were saying was we have to look in the mirror, and I think we do, and you know we like to look at collectively, sometimes individually.
Yep.
You know, look in the mirror and say, oh crap, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah,
You
no,
know?
and it starts with us. To your point, it starts with you being a good person, the best.
Well, yeah,
in every
you
area,
look in the mirror
and-
and like, man, my life sucks. I got a crappy job, but wait a minute, I don't make a lot of money, but I'm fat and I have cable. Shit ain't that bad.
Yeah,
I mean, things okay.
Yeah.
And and I think it's easy to lose sight of that. And
Yeah,
so,
yeah, and it starts with us, and then it's your neighbor, then it's everybody. So,
Yeah.
no, that's super cool. When you walked in here, we're talking about cryptocurrency, man. I really want you to watch that first podcast and get on that.
Yeah, I'm a simpleton, man. I'm still scratching my head on this whole mining shit. I'm like, what an algorithm? Who wrote the algorithm? Shit. And
So what do you do? What are you doing right now? You said Red.
I work for Red Hat.
Yeah, Red Hat.
Red Hat is a technology firm. It's a software firm. I work on the consulting side, mainly for working for the government. Very close to being a Green Beret, and I joke around. It's it's one thing to consult where you solve known problems. It's another thing to advise. And advising to me is next level. Where you partner somebody and help them navigate the unknown. So
Yeah. How long you been with them?
Going on 2 years.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And are you liking it?
Yeah, I told you, like I said, I get to be a Green Beret still. It's humbling. Technology is humbling. My big depth of technology background being a Indiana Hoosier history and poli-sci major. But what I realize is technology is too important to be left to technical people.
Yep.
It's at the end of the day, it's still about people.
Yep. Are you working with data? Is it doing with data, or what kind of tech company is that? What are you guys doing?
Red Hat's probably one of the largest tech firms you never heard of. IBM
Wait,
bought them.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Is this? I think last time you were telling me is it kind of like a Linux system?
Yeah, they do with
Okay.
Red Hat Linux. They do with Linux, open source software, and
Okay.
Red Hat. What I always joke around and say in simple terms is they develop software and work the non-sexy stuff, the stuff behind the scenes, so to speak. But what it allows you to do is and I'm not pitching Red Hat by any means, but I'm a little biased. I work for them. They got cool T-shirts. But
cool t-shirt.
it standardizes compatibility versus proprietary.
Okay.
So they work with, they produce a lot OpenShift, a lot of platforms, platform as a service. They work basically, it's the software behind the scenes that make things work.
Okay.
Yeah, these are brilliant people, man. Every day I'm humbled with some of the smartest, but they remind me of Special Forces teams. The small teams going to ground with specialized skills. They want to be Rangers because they just want to do fun stuff and blow things up and leave, but they can't. They have to stay on the ground and build those relationships.
Yep. No, that's cool. I'm glad you. And how long did it take you to how long were you working with the SOTF? A couple years. I feel like I asked that in the beginning.
I still volunteer with them a lot.
Okay.
To me, again, you're great for it's an.
Or did you find? I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt. Did you find Red Hat through SOTF or a
I
connection?
absolutely did not.
Okay.
But they helped me sit down and say, "Hey, Glenn, we think that's a good fit for you." No, I work. The guy. A guy used to work for me. I was a director at J5. Strategy, plans, operations. We love cool titles. And a guy that worked for me is now he's been easily promoted 5 or 6 times ahead of me. This guy's amazing, brilliant. Called me one day and said, "Hey, Glenn, I think you'd be a good fit over here at Red Hat." And so he invited me to come speak to Red Hat about similarities between advising in the tech space and Green Beret teams, because he's he worked for me over at SOCCENT, which is a Special Operations Command Central.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you had.
Yeah,
You'd known him.
Yeah, I'd known him.
Nice.
He had gotten out, and I'm humbled to this day that he, of all the people in the world he could have called, he called and said, "Hey, I think you'd be a good fit for this organization."
That's awesome. That's cool. It pays to know people.
I guess so. I wish, hey, anyone out there, if you hear about this term networking, I guess shit works. Because and I won't lie to you, I hated it when I got out of the military. I was somebody, and then someone said, "Hey, you go real quick from being that colonel that everyone likes. You walk in, you high five, you get a cup of coffee to, the fat guy with Velcro shoes in the way at the store, and so it was very humbling. But at the same time, I think it's one of those good humbling. We all need to be humbled, and so
Yeah. So what was the hardest part for you? Getting out of, or is there anything that you could touch on for other people that are?
I think there's a misnomer or a misperception in society that youth belies innovation and age wisdom, and I don't think that's necessarily the case. When I felt that I would get a lot of interviews and a lot of people talking to me, but it was kind of like, hey, you can't teach this old dog new tricks. And I'm like, hey, man, in Special Ops, some of the old grizzled guys are some of the most innovative guys thinking, and
They've seen it all.
And they bring ideas, and they're comfortable empowering other people to have the ideas, which is the real value. It doesn't have to be your idea. There's no monopoly on good ideas or bad ones, but it's being comfortable enough to create that climate where other people
And lift them up.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, exactly. And you were saying, the whole bite the bullet concept. Can you create that climate where somebody is willing to bite the bullet?
Yep.
And as a leader, I learned that early on in my career. Again, I'll give all credit to my team sergeant, Darren Crowder. I had a phenomenal. I was promoted below zone a couple times in my career, which is pretty hard to do. It's pretty lucky. I mean, in the top 5% or so. It wasn't because I was good. It was because I was surrounded by guys that were good, and so those those guys took care of me, and so I was smart enough to listen to them.
Nice. Yeah. No, that's fantastic. So if someone were to come up to you and say what is there other than surrounding yourself with good leaders and mentors, what could you tell someone that may be watching this, that's going to be getting out of the military, that is looking for a civilian job, transitioning out of all of the military life? What would one thing be?
Man, I'd have so many. Man, I should just give my damn phone number and tell them to call me. No, it's funny because you looked in LinkedIn and all these cool things, and you'd swear like getting transitioning is like going to damn Six Flags, or I was going to say some crass comment. I better not. I think the biggest thing to understand it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to say this shit's hard, and it's okay to have bad days, because we make it look like a commercial where it's just awesome, on LinkedIn. It's
easy.
Yeah, and then what I tell guys is, hey, it's just like what got you to where you're at. You see a lot of guys, suicide rates are high. It's crazy. Just lost someone not too long ago, former Green Beret.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's just crazy world. But what you want to tell guys is it's okay to have bad days, and it's okay to be scared, and it's okay and all that rah shit. But just like you did in the past, pick up the phone, call people, lean on them, and Stockdale paradox. It will work out. It's just going to suck until it does.
Yeah. What was one of the most challenging times as a special operator?
Oh man,
was it a situation or any situations that stand out?
The ones that stand out to me is probably one of the hardest things you'll ever do as a leader. It's not always operations you do, it's operations you don't do. And, several times in my career, there's a lot of pressure to do operations. I take a lot of pride that I didn't, I remember.
A specific mission that you could choose to do?
Well, choose, or to be smart enough to tell, smart enough to be transparent enough to come out and say, hey, we shouldn't be doing this mission. And nothing gets you pulled off a mission like the ability to say, I don't think we should be, oh, you have doubt. Yeah, it's a bad mission. And special operations, you got to protect them from themselves. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong. Hey, there are going to be missions, the Shugart Gordon missions where, hey, you go in of my own accord, man. I'm getting on the ground. I'm going to do it. And, and you understand that, you may not come home. But there's other missions you say, the fact that we're doing this mission may not be a good call. And one that jumps out of my, in my mind, and to this day, I
don't want you to talk about anything is upsetting or anything like that.
I stay away from those.
Okay.
But no, one operation I'll just keep very simple is two different factions fighting amongst themselves. We're in the middle. You have the Shura, which are our local guys. We call them the Shura, which is basically a group of elders that have in power, and they have a lot of influence in the region. So we're working with them to try to build a recruit. We're trying to recruit and build an army to go fight Taliban in this pocket. And then you have a guy, Pasha Khan Zadran, PKZ, and he's like a warlord. So they're fighting for whatever reasons, and we're caught in the middle.
But like literally in the middle of
we had, my
shots firing.
My team started liking to this. You build a house on a golf course, and you get a golf ball in your window. It's part of it.
Yeah.
And so we had, put our little mini base, team house or safe house or whatever you want to call it, fob or whatever. This is early in the war, and we had put it in a position where we were caught in the fighting. They were fighting literally out our front door, and we had our security, and we were taking some shots. And I don't think intentionally. I think they were stray rounds, and they can't shoot real well. So and a lot of pressure on my guys to get involved, and I don't blame them, and because you want to be part of it, and. So at the time, we were taking some fire from one element, a little bit more than others, and the guys wanted to call an airstrike, and we were cleared hot to do so, and I absolutely refused. And I went up on the roof and said a few comments, and we got in an argument. And an ODA is a little different. It's kind of almost family-like to a fault in some ways, And so guys are like, "Sir, it's bullshit. We need to be doing this." And so. Went down, after I went on the roof, I remember telling something along the lines of, "Hey, if something happens to me in the next minute, then here's my initials. Clear those aircraft." And the aircraft want to get in the fight too. This early on.
How far are your aircraft away at this point?
Oh, at this point, these guys are popping off aircraft carriers, so they're literally floating above us.
Oh, okay.
And but they want to drop their load because they don't want to land with. This is early in the war, so the only things you had on station for very long was some B-1Bs. The big bombers that had time. And then you had a lot of these coming off the aircraft carriers. So they pop in. They only got a few minutes play time. They got to get back to the aircraft carrier.
Yep.
And so what they do is they drop their bombs before they go back. So everybody wants to drop and get in the fight. And I won't lie to you. You want to be part of it. And
so what was your? Why'd you make that call? What was your? What made you make that decision just to stay out of it?
It was a lot of pressure, and other people, another organization said, "Hey, we'll drop the bomb instead, but we just want to make sure you have no heartburn on it." And I'm like, "Absolutely not." I said, "If you drop the bomb, I'll send in my report. We call it SITREP, situation report, that it was a bad call. We shouldn't have dropped it." And the reason why is I was looking long game. Long game is we need both these sides. I need influence, with the warlord because he has geography, access and placement of geography we need to get to. And I need the Shura because I need access and placement where I live and resources, manpower to fight. It's their area. They know the area. And so my view is it was, we had to be smarter. We had to think longer term, and it's a long game. It's about building those relationships. And by the time it all ended, I had a lot of pressure, a lot of, I even got, called on why didn't I make a call and be decisive, because we love that term. I'm a decisive leader. I made the call. No, sometimes sit back and watch. Yep. And so my team sergeant, that was the first time I realized he didn't mind me. Master Sergeant Darren Crowley, I've said his name before, had a lot of pressure, and guys were, fighting, and he told the team leader got it right. He made a good call. And so, it worked out. But I'm telling you, who knows if that 10 times, maybe I get it right 5 times, so that ain't bad. But yeah, I got it right that time, and it's hard. And sometimes you earn that salute. As an officer, you get saluted every time you walk by. Someone, anyone junior salutes you, but you don't really earn it very often. In Special Forces, as an officer, you may earn your salute, where you make that tough call. And I tell guys this, 2-3 years in Special Force on teams, you may only earn that salute once or twice. But when you do, earn it. And I'll say that with everyone. If, some of you remember your high school days eating alone at lunch, you probably earned it. You made a good call, you pissed people off, you probably earned it. And you did right. And so, so that's one of the few times. Sometimes you got to make those tough calls, and you got to eat alone.
Yep, that's powerful. That's very powerful. How long was that? How long were you guys in that specific region with the warlord, and then did you say Shura?
The Shura, I call them Shura, and these are generic terms. We ended up, The fighting was a few days. We ended up working it out where we ended up winning both of them over, and it was.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
Over time, and we got the knuckleheads to quit fighting each other, and then to fight the common enemy at the time, which was the Taliban.
Yep. Yep.
And Al Qaeda.
Yep. And you were over there for, specifically in Afghanistan, for what? Were you over there for 10 plus years?
Oh, no.
Okay.
That was Billy Wan, the crazy knuckleheads in Vietnam. No, I think, I had it better than most. I did 3, 4, or 5 tours, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
All to Afghanistan?
Iraq as well. I did
Okay.
the invasion of Iraq as well. So I joke around, I did 3 invasions in my career, and can't say I'm 3-0. I'm probably 0-3, but I did Iraq in 2000, or excuse me, in Desert Shield, Desert Storm, did that one, then did Afghanistan in 01 and Iraq in 03.
Yep. Awesome. I think it's the most fascinating thing to me about you and other not just your typical Marine, or I joined the Army. I went overseas for a little bit, but like, you guys were in some shit. You guys like saw like real. I mean, some stuff I probably can't. A normal person cannot imagine. Daily. And to be able to sit here and talk to you, and just basically just show how like normal you are, and just it's just truly amazing. It's you seem just like a great guy, and nothing really bothers you, and at least I don't know about. And
No, it's funny.
It's just-
I mean, I just view it differently. I mean, like I said, I'm on the soft special operations side. I look at it. We all chose this. We specially selected, assessed, trained. We chose this shit, and you wouldn't impress me, that 18, 19-year-old knucklehead, 0300 Marine, running around with a machine gun in the Arghandab Valley, I mean, or the 88 Mike truck driver driving a fuel truck in Iraq. You can have that shit. Like I said, I have utmost respect for those people, and at the end of the day, I chose this, and I chose to be around those guys. So yeah.
Yep, that's very powerful. Yeah. So last question, man. I gotta ask you. I got you. Bite the Bullet. That's the name of my podcast. Thank you for coming on, by the way.
Oh,
I hope I didn't waste your time. No,
thanks for having me. This is kind of fun, man. I'm like, oh shit, man. My kids think I'm a dipshit, so this is kind of cool.
Did you tell the family you were?
No. I will want to go home. I'm hoping I'm impressing my 10th grader, but I doubt it.
Is that your son or your daughter? Okay,
daughter.
Yeah. Well, hey, no, I really appreciate you coming on, man. It's been great, and I feel like we had a good conversation about a lot of stuff. But I want to ask you. I ask everybody that comes on. So far, it's been 3. What would I believe that every single person in their life has a situation, an event, something that causes that person to make a certain decision, whether they're going to shy away or they're going to take that extra step. In any situation, it doesn't. I tell people. A lot of people ask me, are you only having on like wealthy people or like stuff like that? And I'm like, no, I want anybody that has made a certain decision. It can be anybody, because I think anybody has made a decision. What has been one, story, situation in your life that you have, bit that bullet and taken that extra step?
Damn, that shit's hard. That's a damn.
I mean, it could be anything, man.
Man, I would love to give you all these, cool stories. At one time, I was gonna quit.
No, it doesn't even have to be. Doesn't even have to be involved with the military.
No, mine doesn't. And like I said, I wish I could give you that cool story. I'm gonna say something so damn nerdy that you're gonna, probably go, holy shit, let's delete this one.
No.
9/11 opened my eyes, and that one. I still remember I was at a range, first time I'd seen my guys. I'm not a particularly good shot. We were doing a CQB, close quarter battle, in this house, and in the shoot house. And we didn't get cleared to open the range because 9/11 turned out you weren't supposed to go hot with your ammo, but we did. And I just remember going back and getting to the base. And everyone's like, holy shit, you guys weren't supposed to be off base because, did you guys hear what happened? We're like, oh, we heard something. And I remember getting back, and at the time we had heard 40,000 dead. If you remember, when the buildings first collapsed, he estimated 40,000. And, and we had the old Korean War buildings when I was in, and they had rolled TVs out in the hallway, and we were watching CNN. And the only person I wanted to call, I love my parents, love my sister, and all that shit, and buddies from high school, whatever, was the girl I was dating at the time. And that was, when you say bite the bullet, that was that moment where I said, holy shit, turns out I am in love and I want to marry this woman. And, to me, marriage means you do whatever it takes to maintain that marriage. And at that point, I'd already tried to break up with her because I was getting my beret. And, why don't we do this long distance? I'll see you when I see you. And I remember she gave me that ultimatum, you're either with me or not. And so it turned out now, going on 20 years.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, no, thank you. But I think, when you say bite the bullet, we want to think of those hard, those challenging. For me, bite the bullet means you live with that decision. And it's not always easy. And the hardness of that decision isn't always short in duration. Americans, we like shit fast, and we don't mind suffering. We just don't like to suffer long. Marriage by no means is suffering, but God damn, it's a lot of work. And so, God did not mean to use your name in vain. That's my cat. But I will say, that bite the bullet moment for me was, I want to be with this woman, and I'm going to make sure I integrate her into my decision making for the rest of my life, as long as she'll take me. And so, but yes, like I said, so that, not near as cool as guys, shoot or not shoot at 800 meters.
I like that,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
I like that, and congratulations. I think that's probably a little bit more real, and a lot of guys don't want to be vulnerable. Come on here and be vulnerable and talk about that.
I can't hit shit at 800 meters anyway, so yeah.
I was doing some sniper shooting up in Nashville. That Saturday, the event, actually.
Oh, nice.
I didn't know what all sniper school was and how intense it was. And
shit, I consider a 200-meter shot a sniper shot for me.
Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't realize how actually important the spotter was. I thought a guy just gets up there and takes the shot.
God, I ran our schoolhouse, for our SF training for a while, and we had, the guys that taught SODIC or the target interdiction sniper. And God, you ain't kidding, man. These guys are amazing. They're zeroing their weapons out.
Yeah, and reading the Mirage,
man.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. But man, thank you for your time. And
thanks, Kyle. Thank you man.
Thank you for sharing everything you've shared, especially the bite the bullet. That was cool. Yeah. And I did get you. I need you to send me your email because I got you and your wife a gift certificate to Burns, so you guys.
Oh, awesome, man!
I'm glad I did, because now it kind of looks even better that that was your bite the bullet. So, but
well, shit, I get some brownie points. I won't lie to her birthday's Friday, and I'm struggling. I'm like,
there you go,
shit, man, I got to get some reservations. So this is no, thank you, and appreciate having me. And like I said, my kids think I'm boring as shit, and I have nothing to talk about. So I'm flattered that you even have me.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate it. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, brother.
Hey, thanks for serving. I appreciate everything you've done, man.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
Yo, the sun don't shine forever, but as long as it's here, then we might as well shine together. Better now than never, business before pleasure. P. Diddy and the fam, who you know do it better. Yeah, right, no matter what, be airtight. So when you hear something, make sure you hear it right. Don't make an ass out of yourself by assuming our music keeps you moving. What are you proving? You know that I'm 2 levels above you, baby. Hug me, baby, I'ma make you love me, baby. Talking crazy ain't gonna get you nothing but choke. And that jealousy is only gonna leave you broke. So the only thing left now is God for these cats. And babe, you know you're too hard for these cats.